I mean, is this really the next step? Missiles to bring down Trump's airplane? This is getting crazy, in my opinion. It's from the Express Tribune saying here, Trump Force One, rumors spread of Mexican cartel plotting Trump assassination. Rumors about a third assassination plot against Donald Trump emerge with claims of missiles smuggled into the US. Yikes. It says here that it's 9 surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled into the US to strike Trump's private plane, according to this rumor. And Vandersteel, a right-wing journalist and host of Operation Burning Edge, posted the claims on X, formerly known as Twitter, on September 26. Intelligence just in from the southern border that 9 surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled into the US. Across the New Mexico border, intended target Trump Force One. Vandersteel also suggested the missiles could be of Iranian origin and that the operation was linked to the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico, but did not provide evidence to back these claims, only stating that a confidential human resource source relayed the information to Doc Pete Chambers and Baz Ark. Vandersteel further speculated that an operation of this scale would likely require insider help from high-level officials, possibly within the intelligence community or the Department of Justice. Her post has since gone viral, fueling more online speculation. This is the post saying exactly what I already read. This would mark the third assassination attempt linked to Trump in 2024. Trump himself posted on X on September 25, addressing threats from Iran. The entire US military is watching and waiting, Trump said, referencing potential assassination attempts and warning that any attack on a former president would have serious consequences. Obviously, it would if you killed... Oh, great, it refreshed. If you killed, a former United States president, obviously that would be a provocation of the highest order. Although, I wonder, there seems to be a great drive for the United States to enter a war in the Middle East. And I won't comment about whether it is in my country's best interests or not, but I will say that most Americans, as far as I can tell, from polls and such, do not want to be involved in a war in the Middle East. And so for people who do want to push that war, in my opinion, Democrats, it might be seen as two birds, one stone kind of affair if they just look the other way for a bit and allow this to happen. I honestly would prefer it if we could avoid wars, obviously. I won't comment on whether there's an actual need for war with Iran because I'm honestly not too well read on the subject. I do know that Iran is very much an enemy of the West in general. If you listen to what the leaders say, they very much hate us. You can also read articles about what they do to their own populace if they engage in any kind of Western culture. There's very much an ideological hatred for all things Western, all things European, and so on. They are not at all willing to cooperate and coexist with, Christians any more than they are with Jews. And they've already promised to destroy Israel, wipe it off the map. Both the Supreme Leader, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defense, basically pretty much every Iranian official, I think, when they get the new job, they make the pledge and they promise to destroy Israel as part of their ceremony. I'm exaggerating just a bit, but it feels that way because I've heard so many Iranian leaders threaten to wipe my country off the map. And again, you can find plenty of articles about what they do to Iranian citizens engaging in Western, whether it was Western haircuts, Western music, Western fashion, it doesn't matter. They crack down hard on these things because they hate you. Plain and simple. Still, though, it very much feels as though the same people who will be happy if Trump suddenly is gone would be very happy to enter a new war in the Middle East. So I would be remiss if I didn't point out that sort of conflux of interests in the United States government right now, as I see it, my personal opinion. To continue here, right-wing journalist Lara Logan claimed that Trump's plane is the next target for assassination, with 3 kill teams already inside the US. However, sorry about that. However, like Vandersteel, she did not provide concrete evidence. It says here, urgent. That's the tweet from Lara Logan. According to an informant in New Mexico, Trump's plane is the next target for assassination. 9 heat-seeking surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled into the US for this purpose, and there are 3 kill teams already inside the country. Trump has been informed, so have the intelligence services, I believe. Let's see if I remember it correctly. So have the US intel agencies, yes, as I thought, and other authorities. Money has been transferred to a cartel to push this over the border. These people are cornered and vicious. They will stop at nothing more to come. So the idea about numerous kill teams, I believe I have seen accounts of 3 or 5, is not new. We've already seen other officials saying that confidentially they've been told about such kill teams trying to end Trump. So I'd give more credibility to that. As for the surface-to-air missiles, I'm not ruling it out. It's entirely possible, in my personal opinion. I'm just saying we don't have enough information to determine just yet. It says, as of now, neither the FBI nor the Secret Service has confirmed or denied any active assassination plot against Trump. These claims remain unverified but continue to spread across social media platforms. I think the idea that this sort of behavior would escalate the more they failed and the nearer we got to the election is not new either. I believe Alex Jones, the guy who's basically been shut down by the federal government, at least they admit during the trial that the main issue they want is to shut him down rather than to, make him pay the victims of his misinformation or malinformation or whatever they're calling it right now. So that guy has been saying for months that they will try and use bombs if they couldn't manage it with guns. And I have seen enough rhetoric from the left. Danger to democracy, we can't afford it, we have to stop it, and so on and so on. Essentially doing everything but saying go and, end him about Trump. That kind of rhetoric definitely expresses desperation and determination to end that person that they are talking about, Trump. I can't believe that we have deteriorated in our standards so much that such blatant incitement, in my personal opinion, is not only tolerated, it's just normalized. We move on. We don't even think about it. It's just part of our day. And it becomes a part of a string of behaviors that used to be unacceptable or outright criminal that have been normalized today, like the weaponization of the justice system. We have seen corruption and collusion both between the rich and powerful and groups like entertainment moguls. We've seen large corporations. We've seen so many different sort of variations of collusion and corruption that basically just were allowed to move on with no punishment, no investigation, or it was sort of a slap on the wrist. We've also seen the double standard in terms of behavior, where, for example, somebody on the left does blackface, like Justin Trudeau. Perfectly normal, moving on. On the other hand, if you do something like, I remember reading an article about a woman who was not Asian and wore an Asian dress to a party, a prom or something, and it actually reached the news because she was condemned and cancelled for something so minor. If you I remember the interviews of somebody going to countries in Asia, like Japan or China or something, maybe Korea, and asking them what they thought about it. And they were very surprised because they thought that somebody else, emulating their culture was a compliment. It shows how good their culture is that even other people who do not belong to it emulate it, want to copy it. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But for people in the US, it's like a sort of, how to put it, virtue signal to cancel you for minor things like that, except when you are a Democrat, and then you can do whatever you want and it's fine. It's been the same with me too, where Democrats were more resistant to accusations than anyone who's not a Democrat, but especially their political opponents or anyone who criticizes them. There's also been a story right now of a black mayor, I forgot, was it New York? I forgot. Anyway, who basically criticized the democratic policy of open borders and said that the federal government does not give enough aid to take care of everyone coming in. And then soon after, he gets indicted. I'm not saying that the guy is innocent, but it awfully feels as though we have become numb to, double standards, weaponization of the institutions, especially the justice system, and normalization of corruption in the West in general. It's not just the United States. And this moral decay is something that is very destructive to the fabric of society. It becomes a low trust society, and low trust societies cannot be successful economically. In order for there to be, cooperation and trust between people, which is what is required in order for a country, it's not sufficient, but it is required in order for a country to be successful economically, and in order for a country to be safe, and for people to help each other when they, are in trouble. Absolutely, there must be social trust, and we are losing it rapidly. On the other hand, this kind of environment is perfect for corrupt politicians and large corporations to make more money than ever, and you can see the evidence of them making more money than ever. You can see the evidence of increasing social distance in terms of economics between the middle class and the very rich. I very much hope that we get a positive result in this election and that we start reversing these changes, because I disapprove of them so much. I wonder what we can do as, citizens to reverse these trends, because it feels as though any kind of backlash that we might try to give to the establishment, to the government, would just be suppressed. I look at how people protesting the government in the UK are received as threats or dangerous people. They're not seen as legitimate criticism, and they essentially have no lever to put pressure on their own government if they are unhappy with the way that it functions. And that despite the fact that, the Labour government rests on the support of like 20% of the voter base, essentially. Not a majority by any means. It's not as though they can confidently say that they won with a huge, overwhelming majority. In fact, they didn't even improve their numbers from the last election, where they had one of the worst defeats in the history of their party. It's just that this time, the opposing parties got even less votes, which means more people than ever are completely disillusioned with the entire political system. And in such a climate, they ignore any and all criticism from their political opponents. So I really don't know what we as citizens can do to, influence things to go in a more positive direction. I am kind of stumped, honestly. It's just really try and get your person when you vote And, well, that's if you have someone that you feel represents you. I think Americans are lucky to have Trump. And especially, I just saw a interview of RFK Jr. with Jordan Peterson. Perhaps I'll make a video about that one. Because I was very impressed. And I think the Americans are very lucky to have multiple people in the same team, on the Trump team right now, that are very impressive individuals that represent their interests and look for their best interests. And I personally don't feel that I have someone like that in the political system here in Israel that would represent me. I really feel bereft of representation here. I think Israel is not alone in this. Personally, I think if I lived in the UK, I'd feel the same way. I know some people hold Nigel Farage in high esteem, and I'm not discounting his achievements in Brexit. I'm not saying that he's not a very effective campaigner and representative, but I'm not sure he goes far enough. I think because he is so good at maintaining a presence within the mainstream, within the establishment, despite disagreeing with them on key issues. By the same token, he is limited to what they are capable of tolerating. And while he may be good at stretching those limits, there's a limit to it. And I think that's why he's perhaps not effective at representing the grievances of the general populace at this point in time, because there has been a parting of the ways between the establishment and the general populace, in my opinion. And as the positions of the two get further and further away from each other, the limits of the strategy of working within the system, being part of it while disagreeing with it, become more and more apparent. And so I think that's the limit of Nigel Farage. I think that at this point he's not sufficient to represent the people of the United Kingdom, but of England. But that's my personal take. I'm not an Englishman. If you want more good coverage on the situation in England, I recommend the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, although if you found me, you can probably find them. They're so much bigger than me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear any criticism or constructive feedback from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.